Welcome to Social Studies class. We are going to do a little bit of review with the map before we learn about our new country today. So let's get started. Who can tell me the name of our country? Who knows the name of our country? Our country is the United States of America. Can you tell me to stop when my finger is pointing at the United States of America? Oh, don't stay stop yet. Stop, there we go. The purple one, and there's Alaska up there too. United States of America. Remember last time we learned about the Bahamas, which are not part of the United States, but they're close to the United States. All right, and so this is our country, but this big land is our continent. What's the name of our continent? North America. All right, very good. Let's see. Is this land or ocean? Ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean. Is this land or ocean? Land. This is China. All right, so today, here's the United States. We live over here in the United States, close to the ocean. And today we're going to learn about another country that is on our continent. And this is the country Canada. Canada is north of our country. All this blue stuff up here is Canada. So today we are going to use our imaginations to visit Canada. All right, now I think some of you have been to Canada. I think, oops, sorry, my hand got in the way there. I think Ethan H., right? Don't you have some relatives that live in Canada? And so you've been to Canada before? So maybe you already know what I'm gonna say, but why don't you listen and find out? All right, so we have our country of Canada, all of this blue up here, north of the United States. And if you notice, you can just barely see the United States and Canada are on the same piece of land, so we can actually drive to Canada. Most of the countries that we'll be learning about, we couldn't drive to because we have to cross oceans to get there. All right, so let me show you a poster about Canada. And actually, we'll be talking about Canada today, and in our next video, we'll be learning some more things about Canada. So Canada is our neighbor to the north. So here's our country, the United States of America, and here is Canada up there. Now, Canada was discovered by English people that spoke English from England, and it was also discovered by French people from France, and they spoke French. And so in Canada, they have two official languages, two main languages, and that's English and French. So if you go to Canada, a lot of people speak English, but there are some people that speak French as well. All right, so we're gonna use our imaginations, and we have met a little girl named Victoria, or we can call her Tori for short. So here's Victoria, or Tori. And she has invited us to go on a tour of Canada. And we're going to meet her at a very special place that is shared by Canada and the United States. And this place is Niagara Falls. This big, huge, beautiful waterfall. Have any of you ever been to Niagara Falls? Maybe not. I have been. Maybe Ethan, maybe you have, Ethan H. I have been, and it is amazing. It is so cool. This is really a big area. You see that tiny, tiny boat down there? Okay, you can see how big it is when you see how little that boat is. So Niagara Falls is partly in Canada and it's partly in the United States. And so water comes from the Great Lakes and goes over the waterfall and flows flows down into a place called the St. Lawrence Seaway. Anyway, these waterfalls, these waterways, they separate, okay? On one side is Canada and on the other side is the United States. All right, so after Tori shows us Niagara Falls, and maybe we can even feel, maybe we even got to go on the boat, and if you go on the boat, you can feel the splash from the waterfalls. Maybe we got to do that. That would be pretty fun. So from there, Tori is going to take us to a city called Toronto. And Toronto is the largest city in Canada. Now, cities in Canada are really a lot like cities in the United States. So if you've ever been to a big city here, it's pretty similar to Toronto or a big city in Canada. So here's a picture of Toronto. And in Toronto, do you see this big tall tower? This is called the CN Tower, and it's one of the tallest buildings in the world. It says that it is 1,815 feet tall. Now you or I am about 5 feet tall, and this is almost 2,000 feet tall. It's super tall. All right, next, let's talk about the flag. You know what our flag looks like. Well, the Canadian flag is actually pretty easy to recognize, and you can see it here. It's white and red, and it has a red maple leaf in the middle of it. So the reason it has a red maple leaf is because in the fall, in Canada, there are lots of maple trees, and their leaves turn red in the fall. And so that's why they chose the maple leaf on their flag. And also people discovered that from the maple trees, they could get maple syrup. How many of you guys like maple syrup on your pancakes? I do. And a lot of the real maple syrup that we buy comes from Canada. And they also grow wheat, just like we grow wheat here in the United States, that they can make into flour, bread, and cereal, and things like that. Some police officers in Canada are called Mounties. So here's a picture of some police officers. Now, many years ago, these police officers, they wore like the hats like you can see here, and those red coats, okay? And they were called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or Mounties. They were called the Mounted Police because they rode around on horses. They were mounted on their horses. And they helped keep peace between the settlers and the Native Americans. Remember, that's another word for Indians. And they also delivered mail. That's kind of interesting. Our police officers don't deliver mail. And Canadian police officers don't deliver mail anymore. That was a long time ago. But so today, some of them are still called Mounties, but they don't wear the red coats and hats except for maybe certain special celebrations and things like that. Their job, the Mounties, their job is just the same as our police officers. All right, so let's ask a few questions. What is the name of the country that is to the north of the United States? So here's the United States. What's the name of this country? What is it? Canada, that's right. And what's the name of the waterfall that the United States and Canada share? It is Niagara Falls. Say it 3 times. Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls. And what is on the Canadian flag? What is it? A red maple leaf. That's right. And what are some of the Canadian police officers called? They rode on horses? Mounties. All right, very good. In our next video then, we will learn some other things about Canada.